Hey everyone, we're back in another video. Today we're talking about 9 Buffalo Sabres that could potentially be traded at the deadline or the offseason. Players that need to be traded now or soon because, yeah, it's about time and where they can be going. So what are we talking about this video? Players that need to be traded, places they can go, and yeah, and some honorable mentions. If you want to add the honorable mentions into that, that means 12 players we are talking about, but the honorable mentions we won't spend much time on. Let's get into 9. Nine players here for the Buffalo Sabres, which I can see them being headed out of town. Here we go. Starting off with Jack Eichel. You know what? My thoughts about Jack Eichel at this point is just, I don't think he'll be traded at the deadline. I really don't think he'll be traded at this deadline. I just don't see it. The cap, how teams are situated at this point. But if he was traded at this deadline, there's 3 teams I could see them go for it. Or he could be traded to, because they have the cap and they don't have to give up so much cap back the other way to Buffalo, which, do they want that? It really doesn't matter, I guess. Who knows? Really, you know what I mean? So 10 million, 6 years left, 17 points of the season, 2 goals out of that, 15 assists. You know, not the best. He's getting the points, the assists, but not the goals, which you want the goals, you know, and things are just giving up, for sure. He has not asked for a trade request, but I think it's time to move on from Eichel, have a new direction. I know it keeps feeling like they're always trying to move in this new direction, just things haven't worked out. Exactly. 3 teams, if they trade him at the deadline, these 3 teams I can see him go to. The Minnesota Wild, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Florida Panthers. Now the Wild have to do like Montour plus. The Kings would have to be like, maybe like Turcotte plus. The Panthers, it would say like Barkov, but not really. I don't know. But you don't want to trade Barkov. He's been your guy. So maybe you say Tippett, Denisenko, a first, and then something else. They might actually like that for the Sabres. Who knows? That might be an option. Just putting out there for Jack Eichel. Remember, this is Jack Eichel. So we'll see what happens. Those 3 teams, if they trade for him, because other teams are so strapped down like contenders. I don't see him going to a contender. Even though the Florida Panthers are right now basically like a contender, that's the only team I could see him go to make the playoffs this season. But I say the off season, but if you had to pick 3 teams, those are my 3. Going on to Taylor Hall, which he likes Ralph Krueger, but it looks like, I don't know if he stays. I really don't know. Ralph Krueger as the head coach, I just don't see that. I just think they need to move on, get the coach they really need for that right situation at the right time. In the last couple of times, I don't think I've worked. Phil Housley, I felt worked better than Ralph Krueger, and even Phil Housley didn't do the best of job. So I gotta say, $8 million for 1 year for this contract. If they want to trade at the deadline, I'm gonna say they are gonna have to retain salary. The Panthers, I'm sure they can take on that salary. Boston, they can't, and the Hurricanes, they can't. So retained salary might have to be a big option here for many of these moves. Okay, retained salary. Remember, we're in a flat cap world at this point. They can't take on $8 million. If we were in not a flat cap world, teams would be able to take easily on this $8 million contract. Unfortunately, they don't, and this is just a rental. Unless they want to keep him, that's a possibility. Now the Canes, oh man, adding to that firepower up front, my goodness. But I just felt like the Canes would probably go for a goaltender than anything. Just thinking, a goaltender, right? Boston, that'll be interesting. Add to that top 9 of the players. Just stack them even more than they have already. The Panthers just add for that whole, that playoff run. Going all in, because 1996 is the last time they got past that second round. So just anything to get past, past that first round. So 1996, last time they got past that first round. So anything, just go all in for it, right? That's how things, I'm sure, feel for the Panthers. Let's just get to that second round. Let's keep on moving. And this is the year for them. Why not? Just do like you need to, right? Okay, let's go on to next, Eric Stahl. This one I definitely can see him being moved at the deadline. But only two teams that really come to mind because he had that no trade clause. And he doesn't want to go to those teams that he doesn't want to go to. When he was with the Wild tried to consistently trade him, and he didn't want to go to contenders. So it's kind of like, okay, and not a contender was Buffalo, so they finally were able to move Eric Stahl there, but like, he's not gonna want to go to contenders, and I don't think if you're not contender or playoff team, who wants Eric Stahl? So that's the thing. I could see the Hurricanes picking him back up, and that might be a wise decision. He won the Stanley Cup with the Canes in 2006. Bring him back, can play with Jordan Stahl also. Just knowing the Hurricanes organization, he knows that the players are totally different. We know that. Totally different players when he was with the Hurricanes last time. But like, really, that might be a really interesting option. Or going back to the Minnesota Wild after being traded from the Wild to the Sabres might be an interesting one. Just to load up on that forward group might be an interesting option, right? So let's see what happens. If they want to, they could. Let's see if I just picture him like, I don't see him going anywhere else than those two places. I just don't. He doesn't like to go to contenders. He wants to stay put usually. So maybe he says, okay, maybe Kevin Adams like, you know what, Minnesota is interested in you again. Do you want to go back? He might love that because he loves Minnesota. So that might be the possibility for him. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Is Sam Reinhardt. Sam Reinhardt right now is $5.2 million. 1 year left. He's an RFA at the end of the season, meaning you can re-sign him without someone taking him over on free agency. He has 17 points this season, just like Jack Eichel. Having the points, I think a lot of teams will be interested in him. If he's out there, teams will love to go for him. They would definitely spend some money on him. The first one I have is the Philadelphia Flyers. That's the first one I have. Then the Florida Panthers, adding to the depth. I'm not saying Eichel, Hall, and Reinhardt be part of, the Panthers. Maybe one of the three, I have to say. Not two of the three, not three of three, just one of three, I feel like. And then the Boston Bruins, just adding to that, maybe Boston takes on Reinhardt. They send Andre Cosse back the other way. And maybe they send even like a second round pick and maybe even a prospect. Maybe. Because just remember that Sam Reinhardt is better and Andre Cosse is he gets injured all the time. So that might be an interesting move for them for sure. Let's go on to the next one, and that is Casey Middlestat. An $874,000 contract. Any team can take on this contract. 1 year left, 3 points of the season. He's only 22 years old. He has so much hype about him the last couple of years. 2 years ago, he's gonna come in. He's gonna do great, and things haven't lived up to what they wanted. Disappointed, and he was gonna be the guy right behind Eichel. Hasn't panned out. If anything, it's gonna be Dylan Cousins. Now, 3 teams I can see him being traded to is the Nashville Predators. They'll give him the chance. Absolutely, because Ryan Johansson isn't working out. Duchesne's not going to work out. Those 2 big contracts aren't going to work out. I'm sure they give Minnesota all the time they want. All the time he wants, absolutely. And just probably hope and pleading that he would work out. The Vegas Golden Knights, they also put out this, because I thought about it, like, this would be very interesting. Vegas Golden Knights, Casey Middlestat. Because... just listen to this. They need more center depth. They have William Karlsson, they have Channel Stevenson, they have Cody Glass. They don't have as much of a strong center depth. I know this won't push the needle that far, but if he can be surrounded by these incredible players, by the Vegas Golden Knights, he might start picking up his play and add to that center depth. Just saying. That might be a very interesting pickup. Cody Aiken is the next one. This is the one that I think they're going to have the most trouble trading because $2.25 million contract, they signed him in free agency. During the flat cap world, that is expensive contract, and even not in the flat cap world, that's a mediocre contract. 3 points of the season, not good enough. when he was with Vegas, he had that 40-point season, but it just feels like just not good enough. Like maybe go somewhere else and he does better, but really, I thought two teams that would take on that full contract, because remember it's 2 years. The Detroit Red Wings and the Ottawa Senators, two teams that I think can go and trade for Cody Eakin, and thinking, oh, I add to that veteran presence. I think Ottawa will be like, yeah, why not? Derek Stepan's out for the rest of the season. Add him in, why not? And the Red Wings are always constantly getting hurt with the veterans and all of that, so maybe they'd be like, yeah, we'll add Cody Eakin, why not? I could definitely see that that logic right there. And what would that have to give up? 5th, 6th round pick, maybe just a 6th, 7th round pick. They'll probably like anything, just 7th. All right, bye. 2.25 off my, off the cap. Thanks. Thank you very much, Red Wings or the Ottawa Senators. That's a very interesting one right there. Just to move them off, and we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? All right, Ristolainen is the next one. $5.4 million, 2 years, 8 points of the season. He's a guy the last many years. And trade talks all the time. Trade talks. Where's he going? Trade rumors here or there all the time. But does he get traded this year? That might be interesting if they do trade him, for sure. Now, Ristolainen, 3 places I can see him go to: the Flyers, the Jets, and the Blue Jackets. Now, the Flyers have missed on that right side. They have Phil Myers and all that. But down that right side, losing Matt Niskanen to an unexpected retirement during the offseason kind of stings, but they have it fine. But maybe adding Ristolainen, but I don't know if Ristolainen would really add to or help that situation. I don't know. That would be interesting if it does. I just don't know. It might, but it's such a tricky situation. Like, how much do you get back for him? That is a tricky situation right there. The Winnipeg Jets, they could add to their defense. They would have to give, like, DeMello back the other way to get Ristolainen. You know what I mean? It would just, I don't know. How much do you get back for Ristolainen? What do you get for Ristolainen? What do you have to give up for him? I don't even know. It's so hard to, see what do players want to give, or what do teams want to give for them. Like, I don't want to pay too much, and then what happens if he underperforms? I have 2 years of him, right? And the Blue Jackets, too, I know they're not going to the playoffs this year. It just doesn't feel like they are. They're so low down in the standings. I know they're like 5th in the Central, but still, they're still low in the standings. I just don't see it, you know what I mean? But I can see them maybe picking up Ristolainen. They got rid of Nudavar, they got rid of Ryan Murphy during the offseason. Not the best, because they lost a lot on that decor. That stinks. I know Nudavar wasn't the best, that $2 million contract, but you know what I mean, right? But who knows if they can even afford that $5.4 million contract after have to sign Patrick Laine, you know what I mean? Next is Colin Miller. A $3.8 million contract, 2 years, 5 points of the season. What kind of Colin Miller will we have? And we had that fantastic 40-point season in Vegas, an expansion season. Absolutely fantastic. But I could see him get traded. He's a good puck mover on that right shot. He has a great right shot on that right side. He can really shoot the puck. At times, play make a little. I could see maybe the Coyotes out of that defense core. I know that defense core might change, so some term on that defense core, 2 years, might be interesting. The Flyers, another interesting option. They can look at Ristolainen, and I don't know. How about Colin Miller? That might be an interesting pickup for them. Really interesting. Could they afford it? They might have to give up like a forward or another defenseman, or a different defenseman to have it so they can fit in Colin Miller. That might be an interesting option for them on that third pairing, third pairing. He is expensive for a third pairing guy, kinda, you know what I mean? And then you have Brendan Montour. This guy you gotta trade. I don't care what you get for him, just trade him. A pick, whatever. Even if you have to get a 5th round pick for him, I don't care. You gotta trade him, because the UFA, you're not gonna re-sign him. It's better to get some pick than nothing. It just is. $3.8 million, 1 year, 4 points this season. He never became that guy for Buffalo whatsoever after he got traded from the Ducks. You know what the Ducks received a first round pick in Brendan Gooley. Now, of course, the Sabres aren't going to trade him for that, for sure. First round pick, absolutely no. Absolutely not whatsoever. 4 points, you know what I mean? Just something, maybe a pick, just anything. You know what I mean? 26-year-old. He's a UFA to see at this off season. We'll see what happens. I think the Ottawa Senators might be an interesting pickup. They'll take that $3.8 million, bring it in, and maybe if they bring him in, it would have to know that he would resign with the Ottawa Senators, an extension in place for sure. The Blues, they've been so injured. Guggensen's out. Guggenstrom is out, and that hurts on that blue line. You know, not the best, but maybe adding Brendan Montour might be a little retaining salary at the moment. Might have to be like that. They have to add him. Yeah, they need help on that blue line. Montour could be a possible option, and the Rangers, they could help. They need help on that blue line, not just for this year. Extension in place has to be in place for them. Would that definitely help them? I don't see it, but maybe just adding, maybe even better than they have right now. I don't know. I just put them out there. I'm like, that might be interesting. Have extension in place, you know, for sure. Okay, honorable mentions here. Tobias Riedel. You know, he's a guy, great penalty killer. Has 4 goals of the season. Interesting. Riley Shanahan there. He might be interesting for a flyer. A pick there. And Tage Thompson. Of course, they got him from the Ryan O'Reilly trade. That first round pick. Tage Thompson. And, oh man. Why am I blanking? But you know what I mean. Tage Thompson never panned out to be that prospect for them or that player they needed him to be. He's been severely disappointing. What do you get for him? His trade value is so low. I don't even know what to say. What do you get for him? I don't even know. I don't know how teams, like, if you put him on the waivers at this point, I don't think any team would pick up Tage Thompson. So, yeah, that's the thing. You know, kind of like, Tage Thompson, not much I don't think you can get for him, for sure. So this is what it is. What players you have to immediately trade at the offseason? during the trade deadline. Eric Stahl, Montour, at least those 2. Trade those guys, get them off your list, for sure. But I think you get a lot for Reinhardt. Absolutely. I think a lot of teams will be lining up for Reinhardt. Same thing for Eichel, but I think you get even more of an option during the offseason. Middlestat, I don't know what you're going to get for him. You know, you're going to get something, maybe a second, third round pick. And that's about it. You know what I mean? Second round pick, I can say. And, like, you know, you don't want to trade him too soon because he might turn out something for the rest of the season, maybe. But if you trade him too late, you're going to get, like, nothing for him. A very late pick. You know what I mean? So it's going to be tricky when that trade Middlestat. If he becomes something. If he does, good. Keep him. But if he doesn't, and you keep the road and don't trade him, keep linking on, what are you going to get for him? A 5th round pick? You got him 9th overall in the draft a couple of years ago. Like, come on. You can't do that. You know, he could be a bust. So we'll see what happens. I think he needs a whole new scenery. I think Vegas would be an awesome place for him to go. Low contract. Fantastic. I think that'd be beautiful for him, alright? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. NHL News Sports. See you next video, and goodbye.